Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Raven Yoga for Sobriety. I'm Nicole Peltier Hall. I would like to work with you here for about 20 minutes. When you put your yoga mat down and we can do sobriety yoga, recovery yoga together at the privacy of your own home and whenever it's convenient for you. So I'd like to start with just getting a yoga mat, or if you don't have a yoga mat, it's fine. You know, start before you're ready. Start when you're not sure if you have everything you need, because that's how we tackle sobriety recovery. We just have to do it. We have to meet ourselves where we are, right, Holly? So I set it up in my home because, you know, I'm assuming that a lot of you are pretty much, go on, Holly, doing yoga in your home. You maybe have a dog or a cat that's really interested since you're low to the ground. And we just work with what we've got. So I have a yoga block here, and this is what that looks like. If you want to use a block to sit on, it doesn't matter. You can sit on a block, you can sit directly on the floor, you can sit on a blanket, you can sit on a chair, or you could stand. Bring your hands down to your sides. If you're sitting, turn your palms up on the back of your knees, back of the hands on the knees, as a gesture of receiving. And likewise, if you're standing, you can turn your palms forward. Let's begin. So take a full breath in and a long breath out. And the world will distract you, and that's fine. We just do what we can. So imagine that the crown of your head has a little puppet string attached and literally tugging you up so that you're lifted through the crown of your head. Now I like to visualize this as being my higher power, this above my head. And if higher power doesn't work for you, whatever works for you, God, universe, angels, that which created the universe, doesn't matter. Something outside of your body that has the vibration of bigger, the bigger scheme. So inhale and lift. That's your connection to the universe. When I tried to do recovery, exhale. I tried to do recovery by myself. I didn't have this in place. That's why I'm inviting it for you. This idea of I am not alone, just like the meme of the angels around the blade of grass, grow, 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 that there is a collective inspiration that wants me to rise up, you know. And then whatever you're sitting on, whether it be the ground, a block, the chair, maybe you're standing, the soles of the feet, whatever's touching the ground, wherever you feel you're touching support, that is your community. But do these relationships, like, it's not literal, but it's the relationship of how this represents recovery. So where you plant yourself matters. When you plant a flower in dark environment and the soil is not necessarily fortifying, doesn't necessarily survive. So to thrive in recovery, this community that we plant ourselves in, the jobs we work, the home we live in, who we hang out with, all of that matters. I like to also just claim that this seat that we're on, that which touches the earth, is our program. And our program is different than anyone else's in that there's no two exactly alike. You might go to AA once in a while. You might go to AA every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. You might be constantly reading books about sobriety. You might have a group that you've created of soul brothers and sisters that are doing this too. So that is your root. That's your root system. That's what you are standing on. There needs to be both. The earthly support and then the heavenly support, in my opinion. You imagine yourself as this beautiful charm hanging from the 2 strands. It's not hanging from just one. It's hanging from both your community and your above. What is above that? And let's let the hands come into prayer position as a thanking ourselves for showing up for ourselves. The call of the heart, the call of our soul has spoken, and we listened. Here we are. Release your hands down. Let's move ourselves into a tabletop position. So what I'm going to invite you to do today is put yourself in positions, shapes that elicit a response in your brain, in your discomfort level, so you can focus on coping, getting through, adjusting, modifying, complimenting, considering yourself here and how you deal with life. It's not about these shapes, it's what the shapes bring up for you. So we'll start with tabletop position, but I want you to find this nice neutral space between the extremes of tilt. So tilt your sitting bones and chin up, and then drop your sitting bones and chin under, so you've gone through the two extremes of tilt and tuck, and then come to the space between the middle path, right here between the two extremes. Extend your right leg back as if you're pushing it into the wall, okay? As if you're pushing it into a wall behind you. Don't look at your leg. Feel your leg in space. One thing about yoga, we don't necessarily use a mirror because we want to see ourselves from the inside out. And in recovery, it's really important skill to figure out where you are and who you're with and what you're thinking and what you're doing, so we find ourselves becoming more intimate with ourselves. Where am I? How am I responding? What am I thinking? So you can figure out where your triggers are, so you can know thyself, so you can be functioning at peak in your recovery, not surviving, thriving. So know where you are. Is your heel in line with your hip, or is it low? If it's too much, you can always drop it, but I want you to find a place where you can really breathe here, support yourself. If you'd like to add on, you'll extend the left arm forward. So the left arm, which is opposite of the right, so we have the opposite hand to foot. It's a little precarious for a reason. I want you to feel like you're not necessarily as stable as you would be with both hand and knee on the floor, because sobriety, recovery, oh my gosh, it's so unfamiliar, it's so different, it's so new for a lot of us. And it is the unfamiliar, and it's not to be ignored or dropped because of that. So be uncomfortable, be unfamiliar for a moment to breathe through that and know that you're capable of getting through this too. Take a deep breath in and exhale as you release. Drop your knee and your hand. Let's try the other side. So you push your left foot back. One thing as addicts, excuse me if that offends you a little bit, but the addicts that I consider myself have left the building, right? We've left the building. And so when you have exited your body in that way, this is just coming back home. Oh, what leg is lifting? Where is it in space? Becoming discovering ourselves again, recovering, discovering. And then stretch your right arm forward if you can or like to. See if you can align yourself with heel to wrist. What does that feel like? Where's that line? There's my dog. Deep breath in and long breath out. And imagine still your inhale is that rising element that connects you to your higher power. And your exhale is your rooting down, rooting into the earth, into your support system. How about 2 more breaths here? Inhale, keep reaching, keep lengthening, keep reaching. Exhale, ground, ground, ground. One more time. Inhale, and then exhale and release. Next shape will be one of 3. This position in this might be enough for you to feel it. I want you to feel the friction of holding yourself up. I want you to feel the position of holding yourself up is work, right? Because you can go to the best recovery center in the world, and everybody can be professional and help you so much, but if you aren't willing to do the lifting, they can't help you. No one can want recovery more for you than you. You need to be able to experience that you are the one doing the lifting, right? I can come around as a yoga teacher and help you, and your whole world can help you, but you have to be willing to do the work. And so here, tabletop position. It could be downward dog, which is an inverted V. You'll lift your hips up, and you might, most of you probably, versus this position, will feel like, woo, I'm holding myself up. Another option, if you want, is to go into a full plank position. It's the top of a push-up. I'm already starting to feel the friction, right? And it could come as, like that, just over it. And I'm not necessarily bored, but I'm ready to bring my knees down. And in that, I want you to try to take one more breath, because you go on New Year's Eve, it's your birthday, you just got married. You could be like, this is not convenient to be sober. And I want you to know that you can persevere, even when it's a little itchy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's you're over it. This is the lesson. You can do this with your higher power and your community. So breathe in the lightness, the brightness from the universe. Exhale, ground into where you're touching the earth. Use the earth to help elevate you. Use your community to lift you up. Right, 2 more breaths wherever you are. Inhale, try it. Exhale, feel it. 2 more, or 1 more. Inhale, light, bright, exhale, and then without rushing, lower your knees if your knees aren't there already. Good job. The next pose shape we'll take is a shape for protection. When I was still drinking, I was very encouraging for others to drink with me. And sometimes people didn't want to drink for whatever reason. They were taking a break, and it didn't sit with me very well. I wanted them to drink. So I know it's out there. I know that there's people who do this because I was one of them. And so when you go out into the world, whether you had 20 years of sobriety or you have 1 day, you will probably encounter people that were like me, where they want you to drink. So I want you to sit as if you're sitting in a chair but standing. This is called Utkatasana, chair pose. You sit down. So what we're causing is a little bit of a, it's more work than just standing, right? For a reason. So you're sitting in this chair. I'm going to take the arms out and crisscross the forearms like a shield of protection. So there's 2 things happening. We're holding a shield and we're sitting down as if we're, it's work. This is work to hold. I want it to feel like work. I didn't do well in sobriety and recovery in the first several attempts because I wanted it to be easy. I wanted it to be easy and convenient and fun, and it wasn't. And so I gave up. So this is not convenient to have the arms up or easy to be sitting here, and that's why we're doing it. So as you hold your arms up in this shield of protection, let your chin be level. So it looks like you're looking in the eye level of somebody, and you're basically standing your ground. You're saying, I trust myself. I'm doing my soul's work. I am not flexible or negotiable. This is my decision. I'm protecting my decision. I'm protecting my sobriety. And they will sense that you mean it, right? Sense that you mean it. If you come in not sure, they will sense that too. So we're still in our shield. We're still in our powerful legs and our stance that's grounded. And it feels supported by the earth below. And then crossing the arms, even though the shoulders might be shaking, and holding up your shield of protection. On New Year's Eve, when someone hands you a glass of champagne, no. When you hang out with your old smoking buddies and they hand you a cigarette or some marijuana, you say no. This is it. And you might not even have to. It's just your energy is already saying, I've changed. I've risen, right? So protect yourself. Long breath in, even though it's hot, even though it's wiggly, even though it's edgy, even though it's uncomfortable, because it's not always going to feel easy when you're in recovery. It's not going to always be comfortable and familiar when you're in recovery. Practice being okay then too. Deep breath in, squat down a little deeper. Exhale one more time. We're still here. Exhale. Now rise, the shape of victory. Arms up in a V. Heart tilted up. This also represents freedom. Victory, freedom, and territory, right? If you see a a gorilla in the wild. This is my territory, and I just love it. So the arms are stretched up this is how I feel when I've been victorious at protecting my soul's voice, my soul's work, which is staying sober. I feel victorious. And so after doing that shield, I come home at the end of the night and I say, yay, good job, Nicole, good job. So let your arms reach up as if you're literally hanging or being held by your higher power, your feet rooted down into the earth, not alone. Not alone. And then draw your hands to prayer as you fold forward and down. So you're in a forward bend. Separate your feet hips width or wider. Do a little shaking. Nikki Meyer says the issues are in the tissues. This is so true. We've got some memory. We've got some history here in the body, the diary in the legs, all the stuff that went down. I find that my lower back, my neck really held a lot of resentment, still does, tension from trying to overachieve or to, let's see if I can get to a position where I can see you, trying to people please. That was all in my shoulders, trying to make sure everybody was good with me and having a good time. There was a lot of drinking around that energy I see now in the rearview mirror. So still here in a forward bend, allow your upper body to spill over your lower body. You can bend your knees if you need to, but keep your back somewhat lengthy and flat, just so you're not rounding in the lower back, and that might be more like a chair position in your knees. But imagine whatever that you are dealing with emotionally, which for me was people pleasing, that it's in your lower back. Let's just say it's in our lower back. And whatever you feel in your lower back now is that you can represent any kind of emotional baggage. Visualize that as being red, lava, thick, hot, and now literally pouring slow like lava would from the lower back, up the upper back, and through the neck, and then down to the crown of the head, and see it go right into the earth. Your hands might not touch the ground here. You just dangle your hands. Probably don't touch the ground. If you don't stretch often, it takes it took a while to get that tight, so it takes a little while to untighten ourselves. You might be greeted by your animals too. You guys, go on. So see whatever the emotion, whatever it is that you would like to rid your body of, the issues and the tissues, exhale from your lower back all the way down into the earth. And let's do 3 breaths together just to kind of express that willingness to let go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Woo! Really letting go. Right, Holly? Exhale. Shake out the neck. Then bend your knees, and let's finish here by sitting comfortably on the knees or cross-legged. And I call this radiance. We'll take the palms out. Sit in a little closer. Heart broad, like a blooming flower. These arms are kind of like petals. And then exhale and draw your hands to prayer position as you bow your head down. Inhale, being available, being vulnerable, being open to trying something to assist your recovery so you survive, not only survive but thrive. Exhale, bring it home. Become more familiar with ourselves, coming home into our body, into our minds and our hearts. Inhale, being open, being available, reading, going to groups, group meetings, trying something different. Exhale, hands come in prayer. Even this yoga is something probably for many of you is just different. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I would love to hear from you. You can always email me, ravenyoganation@gmail.com. Have a beautiful life. Fly. Don't crawl. Don't just crawl. Don't just walk. Fly. I love you and I appreciate you and I would love to hear from you, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste.